Okay, so let's go with part 2. This one makes me chuckle a little bit, actually. They want to stop scams that target seniors by passing the Stop Scamming Seniors Act to force banks and telecoms to block fraud in real time, delay suspicious transactions, and impose minimum jail time for fraudsters. So while that sounds really good because we all want to protect our seniors, how are you going to put someone in jail if they're in India? How are you going to put someone in jail if it's a telemarketer from another country? You're going to go over there and get them? Or, hey, let's not bring up that time that the Conservative Party of Canada was actually fined because they created robocalls to tell seniors to vote somewhere else when the election came. But hey, let's make sure our seniors are safe. I find it odd how they have a whole section about Quebec in here. Conservative government recognizes that the French language is in decline and must be protected. What about the Indigenous languages? You know, the languages that you tried to push out of all the Indigenous people and send them to residential schools to take the English or take the native out of them. What about that? We don't talk about that, but we're going to talk about Quebec language being protected, of course. Okay, now we get into the nitty gritty, this little spreadsheet of theirs that actually breaks down the costs. So this first page is about all the revenue that they're going to bring in. And they're basically saying these points are the different parts of revenue that we're going to have. And that's about $12 billion, I believe. So in the first year, it says they're going to have $12 billion in revenue. But then the second year, it's going to be negative $3 billion. And the third year, it's going to be $3 billion. And then the final year, it's going to be $5 billion. So they've said that the majority of this income for cutting funding for the CBC and then the tariff response revenue, $20 billion. Tariff response revenue that they're going to get in the first year, but they won't have that income in the second, third, and fourth years. So I would just like to point out some statistics because the American government from January, February, March, basically the first 3 months of Trump's presidency, they have brought in $21 billion in tariff revenue. But we all know their tariff revenue is way over what Canada is charging tariffs on any other country. He's got China at like 135%. He's sending out tariffs of 60% to other countries who don't even have trade problems with them. They've got obscene numbers put in, and they've made $20 billion in 3 months. So let's say 3 months, that's a quarter times 4, that's $120 billion a year in revenue for the United States. What do you think their population is compared to Canada? Canada has 40 million people. The United States has 340 million people. The math isn't mathing. We're not going to collect $20 billion in revenue in 1 year. It just isn't happening. So their entire plan is based on $20 billion in tariff revenue that is impossible for us to reach. And that's if we had full-blown tariffs on all the countries for the entire year. So let's get into spending changes, and it's in millions of dollars. They want to cancel the liberal gun grab. I like how that's the kind of terminology that they use in their actual budget statement. So they've got some kind of silly stuff in here. But they're talking about saving money in crown corporations, including but not limited to defunding the CBC. And they're talking about $1 billion a year. So I don't think the CBC got $1 billion per year. So what else are they planning on cutting? They want to spend money on supporting media freedom. We all know who he wants to support because it's not the CTV and it's not CBC. It's going to be Rebel News and True North. So all in all, they promised to bring down the deficit and reduce spending. But right here it says, oh, I don't know. What's that say? Anybody want to read that? In the first year, a deficit of $31 billion. Year 2, $31 billion. Year 3, $23 billion. And year 4, $14 billion. Still a deficit. They say they want to support family caregivers and Canadians with special needs with a whole $10 million per year. I don't know what that's going to do for families with special needs because that's not enough. Anyway, then we get to the last few pages, which is all more pictures of Pierre and his wife and his supporters. Vote for change, Conservative. I feel like, they gave the excuse that the dog ate their homework and then they had to go back home and redo the assignment because they didn't have enough time. You've literally been campaigning for like ever. Like you've been in office for 20 years. You've been campaigning like insane amounts over the last 3 years. And this is what you come up with? This is your plan? This is what you think is going to run Canada? He's not an economist. He has no idea what he's doing. Let's look to the guy who used to be a national banker, who's a world-renowned economist, who's been praised by other countries for the amount of work that he's done to help save them. This Conservative plan is nothing but a joke. And if anybody that you know already voted in advance voting for Conservative, sorry to tell you, he lied about everything that he said he was going to do. Not to mention, there is absolutely nothing in this budget that allows for social services. Nothing for disability supports, nothing for seniors, nothing for Indigenous peoples, nothing for people with autism, nothing that assists anybody in any of the problems that all the Canadians are complaining that we have. They don't want to support anyone. They just want to take anybody who's a problem or they consider to be a problem and either put them in jail or deport them because they disagree with their ideas. This is not democracy. This is an autocracy. This is an oligarchy. This is a man who has given everything to corporations to allow them to rape and pillage the land without any penalties. And he doesn't care who he steps on to get to it. This is what the Conservatives stand for. Start doing some research, guys. They are not for the people. They are not supporting you. They don't care about you. They only care about the bottom line. Elbows up, Canada. Please don't vote for this.